So we meet again in
I know,
person
in
this time.
person. It's so lovely to see you in real life, not on a screen, and be able to give you a hug, which is nice. COVID-safe hug.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, hand sanitizer.
Yes, exactly. And just so lovely to have the opportunity for us to talk about our partnership, the partnership between Women for Women International and AMARA.
Which has been a very successful partnership, I think.
I know. So when did we launch? Let's have a think.
I'm going to say, so when did we do the Instagram live?
June.
Was it really June?
June, I think. So I think we launched in the middle of June.
Where's that time?
I know.
Christmas.
We've already talked about Christmas twice today. No. So when we first met, we talked a lot about your company, how you set that up, and we're going to talk about a bit more about that today. And we talked a lot about the work that AMARA is supporting, the work that Women for Women International do with women who are affected by conflict. I think you know, but for the benefit of people that are watching this that might not know, we work with women who are affected by war, and what we do is run a 12-month holistic training program. And what that does is really invests in a woman's ability to support herself. And we talk a lot about women owning their power, and what we think our program does, well, we know what our program does, is supports women to own their power and use that power to support themselves and their families.
Yeah, and then retraining them as well, isn't it? It's making them independent and actually having a purpose in their life.
Exactly. It's about giving them the skills and the knowledge that they need to support themselves. It's not about us saying, this is how you should do this is how you should support yourself. That's what I really love about the programme. So it's 12 months, and the first thing that we do is women join each other. 25 women join together in a classroom, and they go through the whole 12 months together. And already just that fact of joining with 24 other women is a way to really start breaking down the isolation that we know conflict causes.
Yeah, I mean, it's making them having a group of friends, isn't it? And be able to help each other because they're all in the same situation together.
Exactly, and that's where this idea, and we've talked about this before, about where sisterhood comes from in our programme. We talk about the sisterhood a lot, and it's because those women form this incredible bond and they go through the whole programme together. And then once they're in that classroom, they learn about a whole host of things that support them moving forward. So they learn about health and hygiene, and in times of COVID, understanding that and understanding things like hand washing and hygiene are so important. And even without COVID times, it's really important to understand things like health and hygiene for yourself and your family, but also things like sexual and reproductive health for women is really key. But we also teach women about their rights. And I think, you know, this is my favourite part of the programme.
It's them having respect for themselves, isn't it?
It's about them understanding those rights so that they can stand up for them. That's why I love it so much, because if they understand that they have got a right to own land, which some women might not think that they have, they can stand up for that right. And I absolutely love that. And then, of course, there is the vocational training and the business training that goes alongside that. And so what we really want to do, and I think this is probably where your kind of love of the programme comes from, it's about tapping into that entrepreneurial spirit that women have.
Oh, absolutely. Just like we're giving them an opportunity, which they wouldn't have without Women for Women, really, isn't it? I mean, it's the fact that it's giving them respect, it's giving them new training, it's giving them a purpose in life and independence, isn't it?
Independence, absolutely, is really, really key to it. And so what we know is after the programme, women in those groups stay together. They often set up businesses together and they carry on working together, earning a living, and those 12 months really sets them up for the long term. And we know that it works because we do a lot of monitoring evaluation, and we look at how much money women were earning and saving or investing in themselves or in education at the beginning of the programme versus the end of the programme versus 2 years later. And so we know that it works.
And what's the kind of, how many numbers have you got in the programme now?
We've worked with over 500,000 women in conflict-affected countries since we started Women for Women International.
Amazing,
That's a lot of women. And what we also talk about a lot is this ripple effect. And that goes for the health and rights training. So once a woman understands those things and her rights, she tells other women.
Who aren't necessarily on the programme.
Exactly. And then once a woman sets up a business, what we often see is she hires other women into that business. So it causes this incredible ripple effect.
You're creating teachers, aren't you, really?
Exactly, absolutely. And one of the women that I met who has been through our programme in Kosovo, she had learned, her vocational training programme was on tailoring, and she learned how to sew using a sewing machine. And when I met her, she was running a class for other women on how to use sewing machine.
Yeah.
So it's this incredible ripple effect. And that's the work that you and AMARA are supporting. So maybe you can talk a bit about how AMARA is supporting Women for Women International and about what we've done in the setting up of this partnership.
Yeah, so basically, we've decided that we have one of our brands is called Global Explorer, which is one of our own label brands, and we're going to make a donation for every sale that we sell over to you for your worthy cause. I mean, the Global Explorer, it almost feels as though it's sort of like it's a good partnership with each brand. So it's basically a brand which is all about, if you imagine yourself going on holiday and you're going there and you're seeing all these fantastic, whether it's artwork or cushions or throws or candlesticks or a mirror or a basket, and you think, do you know what, I'm going to take that. So it's going to remind me of my holiday. It's going to remind me of good things. It's going to give me a really nice feeling when I take it home. And that's what Global Explorer is about. So it seems as though it's quite a nice partnership. It's quite an ethical brand. It's got some sustainability. It's artisans. So it seems as though it works well together between the two of us.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I love the idea of people buying a product that supports Women for Women International but also gives them a really gorgeous, happy memory.
Yeah, it's like a feel-good factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And one of the things I think people would sometimes think about Women for Women, when you're talking about women being affected by war, it can be quite sad.
Yes.
And actually, what we try and do at Women for Women is raise the voices of women who are affected by conflict, and in a positive way. We want to give them a voice. So it's about telling stories and them being able to tell their own story, and that feels like what you're doing with this range.
Yeah.
And the fact that it also raises money for Women for Women is amazing. But also, it's not just about the product. It's not just about...
No, it's about the story behind the products as well.
Yeah, exactly. And as part of our partnership, one of the... I love our partnership. I'm a fangirl, a massive fangirl, you know this. And I love the fact that it's not just... You're not just saying, right, we're going to sell these products and that's going to raise money. Obviously, we love that. But it's about you putting the entire business behind Women for Women. So I know that your team are really into what we're doing as well. Do you maybe tell me a bit about that?
I think as a family, we are a family business, and we've tried to create this family ethos still within the business. So there'll be people with marketing experience who we need to make sure that the customer services knows what's going on. So it's basically, we are a team. We're one big team of probably 100 people. And we have a really good social committee, so there's lots of things going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But as far as like supporting Women for Women, we've got quite a lot of the team who have decided to run a half marathon, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not even sure they could walk a half marathon, let alone. But I have seen lots of their posts with like blisters on their feet and everything.
Training.
So, still in training mode. So I think that's really good. And then even our customer service have actually independently sponsored a sister as well. So we're definitely behind it.
Definitely. And so for me, what we want when we create partnerships is we want what we call 360-degree partnerships. And that's just a fancy way of saying we want partnerships where multiple parts of your business integrate with multiple parts of what we do. And that's why I love it. So we have this amazing product range, which also raises awareness from your customers of what we do. But we also have this incredible staff team that are really behind us. You have done so many things personally for us. We're doing this now to be able to raise more awareness. And the fact that the team have sponsored a sister of their own, off their own backs, is just incredible. And the half marathon, that's a commitment. That is a real commitment.
I haven't finished it yet.
But you've got to train to run a half marathon.
There's a lot of training going on.
And so for me, this is such a perfect example of the types of partnerships that we like to have at Women for Women International, and it shows real commitment to what we're doing, and it's not just a flash in the pan, it's about long-term support and commitment.
Yeah, and I think for us as well, I think because we've got a high number of women that work for us, I think they can almost relate to it as well.
Yes.
And I think they want to be able to support something, and if for a minimum cost, it's about time as well. It's about having the time to support them. I think that's one of the things that's worked well for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a lovely idea of how a business should be, feeling like a family unit. That's what we feel like at Women for Women. We're all over the world. We have colleagues in the Congo and Rwanda and Afghanistan and Iraq. but we all feel like part of the same family. So again, there's that synergy between us that I really, really love. And how important do you think the fact that you also kind of give back as a business, how important do you think that is to your team?
Oh, it is. I think it gives them a purpose.
Yeah.
I think it's not just about making money, is it, or making a profit. It's giving something back to people.
Yeah.
So I think, everyone's really...
That's why they've really gotten behind Women for Women, and they've taken it on, and it's kind of taken on its own life in a way.
Yeah,
because you set it up like that.
Yeah, and I think it's good for us to have a purpose. I think it's good for the company to have a purpose.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, really do.
Is that important to you personally as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can tell that whenever we've met. You're so passionate about what you do and about the team.
It is, yeah, because we're only successful because of the team we have working for us, and we have to look after them.
Yeah.
And whether it's through well-being or yoga, we have like yoga days, like a yoga session. So I think I mentioned it before, is the fact that I remember walking past the staff room and there were like 3 people lying on their yoga mats and thinking, what is going on if I miss something? And it's things like that. And so it's like charity events, whether it's like Macmillan Coffee Morning, or we did like a Race for Life, but we had to do that into teams, and it's mixing the teams up, teams that you don't necessarily always spend your time with.
Yeah.
And we just had a AMARA Fest about 3 weeks ago. So we had like a stage in our in our garden in the office, and we had some bands playing there, and then the social committee were doing some cocktails and things like that. It was the first event that we had outside for probably 18 months. So it gave an opportunity for people to meet each other who'd never ever met each other.
Right.
Basically, you'd hide people via Zoom calls, and you'd work by Zoom calls, but now actually you could see them in the flesh. So that was a really nice thing to happen.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I think doing things like that, as well as things that are connected to your kind of charitable giving, just make it a really incredibly well-rounded business, because it's not just about the business.
No, and it's not. And I think that the amount of long members of staff we've had there is a credit to obviously to us liking the way that we run our business.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want to go anywhere else.
I wouldn't want to go anywhere else either. So, as you know, the world has been through the ringer in the last few years. And it's not just about the impact that COVID has had, and it has had a lot of impact in the countries that we work in, but we also know that there are, in all of the countries that we work in, rising violence, particularly against women. And so the work that Women for Women International does and the work that you support through AMARA has never been more important than it is now. And there are lots of ways that people can support the work that we do. Obviously, if you're a business like AMARA, you can come and talk to us about a partnership. You know that I love them. We love 360-degree partnerships. But also as individuals, you know,
we're sponsoring sisters, can't we?
Exactly. So your team are already sponsoring a sister, but as an individual, you can do that. I do that. And it's a way that as an individual, you can sponsor one woman through the whole 12 months of our programme.
And you can contact them as well, can't you?
Yeah.
So you can like sit there and write letters to them or emails so they can see them and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. There's a letter exchange.
Yeah.
That has always been part of the programme since the very beginning of Women for Women International. The idea of connecting women affected by conflict with women outside of those conflict-affected countries has always been a part of our work, and it's about breaking down the isolation that is caused by war. So still now, as a sponsor, you can write a letter to your sister, and she will often write back. They get translated, and it is the best feeling when you get a letter from your sponsor sister.
It doesn't take a lot of time, is it?
No, and you really don't need it to be reams and reams. You know, when I write, I'm like, I live by the sea and I love cooking. You know, it's really basic stuff, but it's something that connects you to each other.
Yeah, I think when I did mine, I think I wrote about the dog.
Did you?
I wrote about the dog, and I talked about the children, that kind of stuff.
Perfect. And as well as that kind of one-to-one connection, what you do get is every quarter, all the way through the 12 months, you get an update on what your sponsor sister has been learning. So you hear about the rights training, you hear about what vocational training she has chosen, all the way through to her graduation. So it's a really tangible way as an individual that you can support the work that we do.
And gives you a really good feel with that.
Exactly. So it's kind of this two-way street, and I love it. I've been doing it for years, so I would highly recommend it as a way to support us. But also, if you wanted to have a look, you can look on the website for other things that support the work that we do. Like your team, you could run half marathons. You could run a full marathon.
Maybe next year I'll be chosen to do that one.
Bit of training.
Exactly.
So there are loads of different ways, and it's really important now more than ever that you support the work that we're doing.
Oh, it's been so nice catching up with you.
It's been fantastic.
And face to face.
I know. I'm so looking forward to it. And we're only just at the beginning, really. So what we've done since we launched the partnership has been incredible, but I know that the teams are already working on new and exciting ideas, and I think the more you and I get together and get our brains together, I think we can come up with more things that we can do going forward, which are going to obviously support the work that we do, but also give your team more of that purpose that you talked about.
Of inspiration for them as well, isn't it?
Exactly. So thank you so much for all of the support that you give us and everything you do for the women that we work to support. It's incredible. Thank you.
That's our pleasure.
And it's been lovely to see you. I can't wait for next time.
Well, I reckon if we stay here long enough, we could be here for lunch.
I know. It'd be quite nice, actually, wouldn't it? Next time.